has been the rail crisis in IndiGo. It's now becoming a political issue as well, with Rahul Gandhi saying that IndiGo is the cost of the government's monopoly model, essentially implying that there aren't enough carriers in this country. Therefore, if there is a crisis in one airline, then it really impacts tens of thousands, in fact lakhs of flyers. But it's bizarre in a sense that he would link it to a government monopoly model when in fact civil aviation in this country is entirely free market. That's been mandated in fact when the UPA was in power. It's a free market model, prices are dictated by the market, and there are only that many carriers which can apply because the regulations are stringent. And India is not a monopoly. IndiGo is not a monopoly. There's IndiGo, there is Air India, there is Air India Express, there is Akasa as well, and Spice Jet. These are major carriers by any definition. But that said, the crisis that presently exists, and this really needs to be our focus, is a crisis of credibility at IndiGo, India's largest airline, one of the largest airlines in the world, an airline which as a result of cancellations is impacting lakhs of passengers across the country. In the last 24 odd hours, there have been up to 500 flights which have been cancelled. That process of cancellations happens today. And it all has to do with the availability or the lack thereof of pilots and flight crew. Over the next little while, we're going to break down exactly what the IndiGo crisis is with facts and data to let you, our viewers, know about something which impacts travel across the country.
You know, the larger point being made by Rahul Gandhi, in fact, today he has an editorial in a newspaper and he was making a point about how there is a new East India Company which is functional in the country. He said that the original East India Company wound up over 150 years ago, but a new breed of monopolists has taken its place. They have amassed colossal wealth even as India has become far more unequal. And linking it to that, he's saying that what's happening with IndiGo is also a case of such a monopoly. IndiGo Fiasco is the cost of this government's monopoly model. Once again, it's ordinary Indians who pay the price in delays, cancellations and helplessness. Interesting time also for this editorial to come out at a time when several trade deals are also going to be spoken about between India and Russia. And now you have Rahul Gandhi talking about how the business model in India is completely skewed, also linking the entire IndiGo fiasco to it. Vasudha Venugopal, our political editor, is joining us live this morning on this big story on NDTV. This again is likely to turn into yet another flashpoint, with Rahul Gandhi directly connecting what's happening in IndiGo to what has been called by the Congress earlier Soot Boot Ki Sarkar, the monopoly model, the purported monopoly model that exists in India. Vasudha.
That's right, Padmaja. In fact, it's a match-fixing monopoly is what he has alleged. Now, this was an opinion piece that he wrote for the Indian Express in November 2024, and he has retweeted that. And on that, of course, he has co-tweeted saying that this fiasco by IndiGo is the cost of the government's monopoly model. And Vishnu was also explaining how this probably could also be his, lack of understanding of how the aviation sector works in this country. But he says that it's the ordinary citizens who are paying the price, which is actually true because there are people who have been waiting in airports for the last 13 hours. He calls the delays, cancellations and helplessness a direct, outcome of the government giving importance to monopoly and connections over competence and fair play. Now, that's a big allegation that he has made. And this comes even as the government is trying hard to understand how to sort of break this duopoly in the aviation sector. Mr. Rammohan Naidu, the aviation minister, also held a very important review meeting yesterday. I was speaking to the aviation secretary saying that several review meetings have been going on, but like Vishnu was also pointing out, there's very little that the government can do because this all also has to do with the players themselves. Yes, we'll have to improve, the rules and make them congenial for more players to come in so that this monopoly or duopoly breaks.
This is a manifestation, Vasudha. This is
quite bad.
Rahul Gandhi can't go two steps without blaming either the government or the Prime Minister for one thing. It's a good idea to ask questions of the system.